Here's what happened at the Swedish Grand Prix in Uddevalla. Jeremy Van Hoorbeek was on pole on the CLS Kawasaki, but diving into the lead was Sean Simpson on the Red Bull KTM. Close behind him was Jeffrey Hurlings, who challenged for the lead and led. Simpson was hanging on in there in second in what can only be described as very tricky conditions. The CLS Kawasaki's of Stephen Frossard and the Suzuki of Ken Roxon were also in hot pursuit. Then Simpson moved to the lead ahead of Jeffrey Hurlings, who was then passed immediately by Stephen Frossard. And then Frossard then started to follow Sean Simpson and pushed him aside just at the end of one of the laps and pushed Simpson all the way back down to an eventual 9th place. Then the challenge for the lead came here. Frossard led from Roxon, but then his bike broke 2 laps to go and left him without points. Marvin Muscan, championship leader, was down in 4th position, but it was a win for Stephen Frossard, his first in 2010. MX1, race 1, Commander Sal was on pole here, but Tony Cairoli came from about gate 6 and stormed into the lead and would go on to take victory in a race where he was never headed. Just behind him, Davide Guarneri is having a good ride on the LS Motors Honda, seen here, number 39, just ahead of Commander Sal, but eventually de Sal on the Rockstar Tekka Suzuki would find a way past, and so too would David Philipparts. But it was a tough battle between the 2 Italians. De Sal was in second, and then Guarneri crashed out of 3rd position, handing that 3rd position to David Philipparts. Cairoli, though, he was unchallenged at the head of the field, and it was a lonely ride in the end for Commander Sal in 2nd position, despite Philipparts trying to close in for a short while. Ramon, though, he started to close in on Philipparts in the closing stages of the race, but it was Cairoli who would go on to win from de Sal. Philipparts was 3rd. MX2, race 2, and this time it was Stephen Frossard who fired his CLS Kawasaki out in front. Marvin Muscan was down in just inside the top 10. Jeremy Van Hoorbeek was making light work of the likes of Sean Simpson, and Jeffrey Hurlings came under pressure then for 2nd position. Roxon moved into 2nd, Hurlings was 3rd, and it was down to Roxon then to charge down for Frossard for what could be a possible win. Michael Lieb was having a good ride and would eventually finish in 7th on the Bud Rockstar Kawasaki. Eventually, Roxon found a way through into the lead, pushing Frossard back to 2nd position. If he stayed there, he would win the Grand Prix. But Gauthier Paulin was on the charge, eventually finishing 3rd position, having found a way past Hurlings in the closing stages of the race. Roxon would go on to win the race from Stephen Frossard 2nd, who would win the Grand Prix. Paulin would finish 3rd in the race and take 3rd overall as a result. But it was a big win for Roxon. 2nd MX1 moto, another good jump initially for Commander Sal, but it was the 331 Bud Rockstar Kawasaki of Nicola Oban and Tony Cairoli who headed the rest of the field. De Sal had another good start in 2nd, so too did Evgeny Bobryshev in 3rd. Guarneri had another good start in 4th, with Ramon down in 5th. Cairoli led, but was passed by Commander Sal, who then immediately fought back and retook the lead in this overtaking manoeuvre here into this tight right-hander. Initially, de Sal tried to fight back against the Italian, but then eventually he came under pressure from the hard-charging Russian. 777 Evgeny Bobryshev on the CAS Honda, and the number 11 Tekka Suzuki of Steve Ramon. It was a 3-way battle for 2nd position. The Russian found a way through into 2nd position, but in the next corner he was squeezed between the 2 Suzukis, got his right leg caught in the rear wheel of that CAS Honda, which brought that machine to a halt. He would eventually go on to finish in 4th place. De Sal got the better of his teammate, but it was Cairoli who took the win.